Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the In Trive. My name is Ciera Payton. I am your host, and I'm so excited to introduce you to today's very special guest. Now, some of you may know him as Smokey Robinson in Respect, the movie, or you may know him as Donald on The Oval, but I simply know him as Lod or Lodric. So please welcome Mr. Lodric D. Collins. All right, awesome. We have Lodric D. Collins with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the In Tribe, a place for the inspired, thriving tribe. So, what's up, Lodric? How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm glad to be in the In Tribe right now. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, just it's Super Bowl weekend.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Who are
I'm
you
hyped.
going for?
I'm Rams now. Rams.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, yeah, Rams now. I mean, God forbid I get kicked out of LA.
I know, right? I'm like, look,
Yeah, I wanted Brady to
Saints.
be there. I wanted Brady to be there so bad, but I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Brady got
yeah.
nothing. You know?
Exactly. And then, maybe one day the Saints will do it again. We'll get
We'll
back
come
in.
back. Maybe we'll come back. I'll hold my breath because I feel like it's gonna happen soon.
Yeah, it should one of these days. So, all right, let's dive in to just get to know a little bit more about you. So, I got to ask these, because I'm my little holistic self. I got to ask these questions as
I
far as
love your holistic self. You know I love your holistic self. Your holistic self keeps me calm, keeps me zen. Yeah.
I gotta just go with where nature takes me. You know what I mean?
I love it.
So I just want to know, if you could tell people who are watching, about your background, a little bit about, what's your ethnic background, what's your birthday, your zodiac sign, all that type of stuff, whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I'm born August 24th. I'm like, I think 15, 13 minutes into Virgo, away from
mhm.
Leo.
Okay.
From Lake Charles, Louisiana. I was born. I'm the middle child of four siblings. Two brothers older, two brothers younger.
Nice.
My dad was a cement finisher, so I grew up. I started working with my dad like at the age of 7,
Wow.
at pouring concrete, being a bootleg cement finisher. My mom was a pre-kindergarten teacher at the time. Yeah, yeah,
Wow. I had no idea. I didn't know any of that.
yeah, yeah. No, I
I mean, I knew you were from Lake Charles and I knew you were
started,
Virgo, but
yeah,
I didn't know any of the other
yeah,
stuff. That's so cool.
yeah. No, it's
Wow.
cool. Like I said, I'm a middle child of like four of five boys that my parents had. So like growing up was always like an adventure. I think because my parents had five boys, every day was an adventure. We got a chance to do whatever we wanted to do, and there really were no rules outside of take care of each other, don't go to jail, don't die.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah,
Wow. And so, okay. All
yeah,
right. So little Lodric being the
yeah,
middle child back in the day, you know, you have, from what I understand, because we've talked, but you
yeah.
have a very interesting journey into how you segued into performing. But, when you were younger, were you into, performing? Were you and your brothers putting on plays or
Yeah.
did you see yourself in the movies and TV shows that you watched at home?
I did. I did. I remember when I was in kindergarten, like it was important with my grandparents, my mom, that that they kind of cultivate our own individual themes in some kind of way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Baseball was my thing. And I think around like second, third grade, something like that in elementary, my grandmother, she knew that I was a creative kid because I was always painting and I was in these gifted programs. And she took me to a play,
Mm.
and it was a play on the tracks. Back in Louisiana, when something is on the tracks, it's like in the hood.
Yeah.
We go to this place, and it's like blocks away from where we were raised. It's literally on the tracks. I think me and my brothers probably threw rocks at it at some point in time, just, these bad
Wow.
kids. It was this warehouse we went to, and I think it was like the adventures of like Huckleberry Finn, Oliver Twist, something like that.
Wow.
She took me by myself. We went, and I remember we went into this place. The doors open, these garage doors open, and the people walked inside. And I was like, "Whoa! Look at this place. This is like The buttresses were high, like steeples in a church. I remember like it was yesterday. The seating, the carpeting was like velvet carpeting, and you walk down aisles, and there were like these Sistine Chapel kind of ceilings. I'm like, all of this inside of this hood spot, you know? And I remember the moment the sound came on. I remember they were saying, you know, just be quiet. At the time, we didn't have cell phones. They were saying, hey, just make sure you quiet the noise. The show is about to start. And I remember thinking, like, where is this voice coming from? Like, what is going on? And then the lights started happening. And like, as a kid, I was always infatuated with details. But it was like the lights coming on from behind me, and the actors are acting, but I can feel it behind my back. Like, what? How is this happening? You know? And then it started. And my grandmother described it as the first time I ever sat still and quiet, you know?
Wow.
It was the most, I think about it now and I get chills. I think it was probably the most magical thing that I'd ever probably experienced in my life and been that infatuated with, you know? Yeah, and I remember walking out, and I paid attention to every aspect, the sound, the lighting, the way the actors moved, the way they entered, the way they exited, the way they projected, how I could feel the sound of the projection back here, you know? Sorry, I live downtown.
No, but I love it because like as you're explaining the sound and everything, it's like we got a soundtrack going on, you know? So.
There's a climactic score behind me.
Yeah.
No, but like it was just a magical experience. And I remember leaving the theater, and I tapped my grandmother on the arm, and I was like, I want to do that. Her eye lit up, and she's like, what, really? Okay, let's get these pamphlets and these brochures and all of this stuff. And we went home with these brochures, and we found out there was an audition like the next week or something. And I auditioned for The Wizard of Oz, and I got me a part.
Wow. What was your role in it?
I was a scarecrow. Yeah.
No way. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Scarecrow in a kid's production of The Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
Wow.
And
you know, it's
took part in character development. They were like, how's he gonna walk? How's he gonna do this? We gotta figure it out. No, it was cool. Yeah.
Gosh, it's so amazing. And you know, and just hats off to your grandmother. I mean, I just feel like it's so important for just adults, you know, to be able to feed that into kids, you know, at an early age. You know, I mean, how fortunate were you to have that? You know what I mean? Like that's awesome, you know? So, wow.
Extremely, you know, I'm always, you know, I always have that feeling of gratitude for how my parents nurtured something that none of us knew much about, you know. I mean, Louisiana wasn't the place that it is now, you know, with the tax incentives and the films and the production. So we didn't know a lot about like what I was getting into. It was just Lodric enjoys it, let him go, you know? Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's so great. Because it's so important for young kids to get involved in that. You know, I mean, sports, yes, but I just feel like there's something with the performing arts that just really helps to just have young people find their voices, you know, and like really grow into themselves. So I love that you just like leaned all the way into it when you were young. That's so cool.
All the way. Yeah, it was fun. It was Lodric's own thing, you know.
Wow.
As a little child, I needed something. That was mine because I was always sharing, you know, the older with the younger. Nothing was ever mine. And I remember this was always mine. And I would do productions, and I wouldn't invite anybody because I didn't want anybody. I didn't want anyone to intrude on what was my space, you know.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm a middle child too. So when the acting bug bit me, I was like, it's mine. I was like, don't try to take it, you know? And I remember when I was young too, everybody wanted me to get involved in sports because I'm tall. And my older brother was the athlete. He played basketball. And I was just like, no, that's his thing. I'm going to find my own thing. And then I deal with the acting, which I'm glad, you know, I'm thankful for. Although I do wish that I would have gotten into basketball a little bit because I love the sport, you know.
Because I know you're pretty big. You're an avid sports watcher, though, right?
I love it. I mean, I love basketball. I love trying to play, you know. So, you know, but definitely did not play when I was in high school or middle school or anything like that. But you know,
I think so. Because I know you practice really well.
Yeah, man, it's fun, you know. So okay. So you got bit by the bug at an early age, but I know that you eventually ended up going into the military, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so how did that happen? Because I want to know about that journey.
I was a rebellious kid. I was
Okay.
a rebellious kid and I wanted to rebel, but more so, honestly, like I wanted to be a part of something important. I wanted to be something important to other people, very valiant. I don't know. Sometimes I question whether or not the adult Logic would make the choice that Logic did. And I look at that part of my life and that guy with a lot of respect because he wanted to be something important. I wanted to be something important to someone, to something. I wanted to be a part of something, and I didn't know how.
Hmm.
I went to college for a year, and I remember it being a lot for me. It was a lot. It was different, and it was
Where did you go? What
went to
college did you?
McNeese University. It was in my hometown,
Okay.
and that was the problem. I felt stuck. I felt stuck.
Mm.
I wanted out, and I didn't know a way out other than just going to another college somewhere else. And I wanted adventure. I wanted to be a part of something important. There was a lot going on in the world. I wanted to be a protector. A lot of really valiant things. And a lot of friends and people are like, "Oh, you're gonna make this much money." I was like, I don't even care. I just want to be
Hmm.
a part of something, and I want to see more than what I'm seeing right now. And yeah, I did my research. I signed up, and I didn't tell my parents. I remember I went home one day, and my dad was like,
Wow.
real bossy. And I was like, "Hey, pops, I'm going away to the military." He's like, "No, you're not." I was like, "Well, you don't really have a choice because now I've signed it and all this, and I get out on
Wow.
this date, and yeah, you're welcome to be a part of it. If not, okay, I understand, but this is happening." Yeah,
Whoa. So
yeah,
I'm curious because I just want to pause on that for a little bit. Can you just walk me or whoever's
yeah,
listening through that day that you actually went and signed up for the military? Because that's a
yeah,
huge commitment, you know?
yeah, yeah. No, I thought about it. I remember I was working in retail on the mall or something, and
Mhm.
I'd seen these guys. I remember they were recruiting in high school, but recruiters were creepy in high school because they like lurked. I was pretty aware of what was going on. They were lurking on these kids who had
Mm,
no, you know, helping them develop their future in their own way. And it just
yeah.
seemed a little manipulative. But I remember just being in the mall after a year of college working. And I was like, you know what, this can't be it. There has to be something else for me. Not looking down on it for anyone else, but like I was like, this can't
Mhm.
be it. Everything's so mundane. And I saw some guys in uniform walk by, and I was like, you know what, lad? Like, you've been pondering that. Like, why don't you stop and talk?
Mm.
And I stopped and they're like, are you interested? I was like, I'm not interested. I'm just interested in knowing because I didn't want to be sold on anything. I was like, let me just ask questions. They were like, oh, give us your number. I'm not giving my number. Let me just ask
Yeah.
questions. You know? Yeah. So I did that. I went to the library. I remember I did some heavy research on it. Then I just signed up. I was like, you know what? It's
Mm.
now or never. No procrastination. Like, you've done enough research. Let's just go. I remember I went into the office and the recruiting office. And I saw everything that resembled pride, that
Mm.
resembled pride, that it resembled adventure, that resembled courage, that resembled all the things that I wanted to be. And on top of that, I don't talk about this a lot, but
Mhm.
my grandfather, who's like one of the biggest heroes in my life, he's one of the last remaining Buffalo soldiers.
Wow.
Yeah. And he would tell us stories about his heroism and how, yeah, my grandfather, he's like one of the last, if not the last remaining Buffalo soldier that existed. He was always my hero. I would go to his house. I stayed with him. He evicted me out of an apartment when I was in the 12th grade and then brought me into. He's always been one of my heroes. He's like the quintessential man that any boy would want to be. And
Mm.
all so much so, I mean, he's this old man. All my friends would come and flock on the porch just to listen to his stories, listen to his
Wow.
war stories, how he got his Medal of Honors, all this stuff.
Wow.
And I always idolized him and I wanted to be the man that he was.
Mm.
And I knew also that doing this and enlisting that I can in some way carry on who this man was and be a part of who he was or experience some part of the stories that he told.
Mhm.
Yeah. So a lot of it is that. I don't talk about it much, but yeah, I always idolize that man. And I always
That's
want
so, oh,
to be in every single way, every characteristic that he was. Yeah.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that,
Ah,
Lodric.
it's all good.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So then you go into the military and whatever you feel comfortable sharing about that. But I'm just
Yeah.
curious. So you served and then you ended up eventually somehow ended up on the oval. So I'm just curious, how did that
right?
all happen?
Yeah, no, I served, I did anti-tank. My job was anti-tank assault, so C4 demolition, bazookas.
Mm,
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I tell people
wow.
that now, they're like, "You did that?" Yeah,
Wow.
that was my specialty. And then I went after I finished that. I went back to college. Not necessarily finished. I did like a extensive active duties in reserve and went to college while I did reserve. And I
Okay.
went to college at Southern University in Baton Rouge, where
Nice. And what did you study there or major
I
in?
studied marketing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
My goal was to get my degree in marketing and then start law school. So my concentration was always like business law. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
nice. I could see that though. Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
could totally see you being in the
yeah.
courtroom being like, Your Honor. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can live it out kind of with Donald. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, before you go into the next portion, I just want to
yeah.
say thank you for your service because
Ah,
that's a huge, huge, huge thing to do. And so, anybody that serves our country, I mean, hats off to you, but I'm grateful and I know, the rest of the people in this country are grateful to you. So
I
thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were in Baton Rouge
Yeah. So then I decided to go.
studying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Went to Southern and I studied, got my bachelor's in marketing. And while I was at Southern, I was participating in the theater program.
Mm.
And it's there that I realized, I think going into like my junior, senior year, I took an internship in northern New Jersey, in Newark, New Brunswick. Every year I would intern there. And we would come and we would, for the summers, we'd always check out like Broadway shows. And then I came back. I would come back during the semesters, and I became a part of the theater program there. And I would do shows and perform. And I think around my junior, senior year, I decided, you know what? Maybe this is something I can do. You know what I mean? Maybe this is where life is taking me. I always wanted to do it, but I didn't feel like it was a tangible thing to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Never saw like right in front of me someone who had a career doing it until I went to New York and saw that. And talk about like just identifying with something, you know what I mean? Looking at people that look like you doing something and then understanding that it's possible. Yeah, I think we went to see like Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk, things like that. You know what I mean? Every time we were there. So let me know, you know what, this is possible. So my senior year, I graduated. I took a job at the company that I was interning with, moved to New Jersey, New York, and yeah, I started doing theater work. Oh, no, what I didn't say
Mm-hmm.
is when I moved, there was a recession.
Yeah.
I didn't understand recessions. So what happened was layoffs started happening, which was the best thing. Layoff happened, I got a package, and I was able to do my theater work there. So then
Wow.
that created the foundation of the acting career that I have now.
Nice. So
Yeah.
you were based in New Jersey for a while. Did you ever move to New York
Yeah.
well, you didn't really have to move to New York if you were in New Jersey, but
Yeah. No,
did
I moved
you?
to New York. Yeah. I moved to
Wow.
New York, got a little hole in the wall, rat infested apartment.
Oh yeah, I know that one very well.
Yeah, it was the toughest experience for me because remember, I tell you about the kid that, as I think about it now, about the kid that entered that warehouse that was a theater at like 6, 7 years old on the track. That was me as an adult in New York City. Like
Wow. Yeah.
everywhere I went, it was like, is this really happening? Okay, it was exciting. Yeah, I think it's
Nice.
probably. Go ahead.
Where did you live in New York? I'm just curious. I would
Brooklyn.
just want to know how close we were. Oh, you were in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
All right, nice. I was in Harlem. I was on 133rd and Adam Clayton. So
I didn't know this. I never knew you were in New York.
I was out there, yeah. And I moved out there right around the recession too, because I graduated from college and I was going to move out here to LA. And anyway, I'll tell you this story one day, but I had this meeting with the casting director and he was like, listen, it's the recession. It's also the writer's strike. So I would advise you and your, fellow class members from, your acting school, y'all all move to New York and come to LA after this recession and writer's strike is over. And I was like, duly noted. And so, and they also told me to, that don't go to LA until LA calls you. And so I was like, let me just hang out in New York for a little while and, hopefully LA will call. And about 2 years later, I got the LA call and ended up out here in LA. So
it's the perfect route. I always say it's a perfect route, and maybe because
Yeah.
it's the only route that I know, but I do not regret that decision. I think it was one of the best decisions that I ever made. And you can relate, like it taught
Yeah.
me integrity as an artist,
Yeah.
not based on monetary value, not based on the system, not even based on the business, maybe it could have taught me the business more earlier, but it taught me the foundation of what an artist should be,
Yeah. And I think New York teaches you grit too. You know what I mean? It's like, I just remember, and we're both from Louisiana, so I feel like we naturally have that anyway. It's like you just kind of have a natural survival instinct in you. But getting to New York, it's like, all right, I have to be even like 10 times more in that mindset and also be just super resourceful in everything that I do. So New York, you start doing theater. All right, your first big job, or let's not even call it big job, but your first booking. What was that?
Check it out. I'm about to link all this together in a really dope way for you, Ciera.
All right.
I was thinking about it the other day. The universe has always been at play in my life. Like from that little theater at 6 years old to getting an internship at a place that allowed me to experience Broadway, the Marine Corps. I come to New York. I audition for All My Children. It's my first.
Oh my gosh.
Outside of commercial, I did like modeling and print and like commercial stuff, but like I auditioned for All My Children with Bob Lambert. I will never forget. And I go in, and I'm lucky that I met this cat because he was very patient with me, He's like, oh, your resume is like stapled the wrong way. You got to do this. Like next time you come in, make sure it's like this. But he was like, you're really good. He was like, you don't have a lot of skill set at the bottom. He was like, tell me about yourself. And I was like, oh, like I'm a former Marine. He's like, you're a former Marine? I was like, yeah. He was like, put all those things down on your resume for me. He was like, because I want to know that. Casting directors never do this, right? It's usually like, thanks for coming, goodbye. I didn't get the role that I auditioned for. 2 weeks later, he called and he said, I have a role. This guy, he is a rescue worker. And he rappels off of a mountain to rescue this woman, and he protects her, and he does this and da. Can you rappel? I remember you said you're in the Marine Corps, and I see this, that I wrote this down in your skill set. I said, yeah, I can rappel. I'm great at rappelling, Hadn't rappelled in a long time. So I remember that weekend I went like rock climbing, and I was like, okay, yeah, I remember how to do this. I tie this like this. Yeah, I'm good. So yeah, I went, did the audition, booked the job, and it called for a skill set that I had in the Marine Corps to, So
that is incredible. But our story is a little similar because All My Children was my first TV credit.
Yeah.
And same thing. I went and auditioned, wasn't right for the role, but then they offered me another day player role. So anyway, but All My Children was a jump start for a lot of us. So yeah.
Sure, because we didn't have, because I'm assuming we were there during a similar time. There weren't a lot of on-camera credits. It was Law and Order, All My Children, and a couple other soaps or whatever. But it wasn't a lot,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, how great is that? I love that.
Wow.
So I'm curious before we hop into how you got the oval. Somewhere, from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere along the line, you started kind of, I don't know, investing in real estate at one point.
Yeah.
Was this prior to, moving to New Jersey, or did this kind of start later?
No, it was before I moved to New York. I was in I was doing a lot of commercial work and a lot of print work, and there was this online banking called like Immigrant Direct and IMG. You remember the online banking accounts? I'm pretty sure. Someone said, start putting your money in all your bookings, put them in your online banking accounts. That way it's there. You forget that it's there because you still got like your day job or your job that you
Mm-hmm.
buy. You'll forget that it's there and it will add up. And then Hurricane Katrina happened.
Yep.
And I remember going home and like everything was like crazy washed out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what, this would be a good time to buy a house. And I went home, I put on my vision board that I wanted to start
Yes.
purchasing homes. And immediately after I put it on my vision board, I got a call from my grandfather who said, hey, I remember you wanted to buy a house. I got a buddy who's a former veteran. He knows about you. He wants to sell a house. And I told him about you, and he'd love to sell it to you if you're interested. Flew home, looked at the house, really inexpensive house. It was a nice home that he sold to me for like really, a really inexpensive price. And I was like, you know what? I'll take it. He was like, okay,
Mm.
let's work these things out with the bank. And I was like, actually, I don't need to go to the bank because I remember I got this money. I got enough money in my immigrant direct account that
Nice.
I've been saving, and I could just pay you cash for the house, you know? Yeah. The tripped out thing is I didn't take the house off of my vision board, Ciera. So it says the power of a vision board and manifesting. I didn't take that. I thought I would just buy one house, you know? I didn't take the house off of the vision board. So people kept calling, like, hey, we hear that you're a real estate investor. Do you want to buy a house?
Wow.
So I just started buying. Yeah, before I knew it, I had a few homes, and yeah, and
Wow.
I grew up like building with my dad and my uncles, and
Mm.
I would go home on the weekends, and me and my brothers would get together. I'd buy pizza, we barbecue, and we just like renovate the homes, you know?
Wow. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah,
That is so, but that's so important for people in the creative field to
yeah,
hear,
yeah,
I mean, gosh, I mean, years ago, and even now, I'm like, buying and acquiring property, sometimes it just feels like such an archaic
yeah,
or, foreign concept for people who are, creatives in the entertainment industry. But I just think it's so, like, it's just important for people to hear that that's possible.
yeah,
And if you go about it in a smart way, and it doesn't mean that you have to try to find that $2 million property in Los Angeles, it's like your hometown, And so it's hats off to you again. Like,
yeah.
yes, like I bow to you for that. That's amazing.
I think it's important as artists, you know. I
Hmm.
was bad working in the service industry. I remember I got a job working at the, like I think it was a coffee shop in Union Square or something, and I lasted probably like 5 hours.
Wow.
Like I think like working as artists, sometimes we think that we have to do those specific jobs. Sometimes maybe you do. I don't know. But my
Mm.
experience has been to stack your acorns. You know what I mean? My experience has always been how do I invest? How do I not have to do this? How do I work smarter in terms of supporting myself? How do I not be? I don't have to be a struggling actor. I don't have to be a struggling artist.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? How do I work
Yeah.
smart to where I can focus? How do I work smart to where I can focus on the creativity of what I want to do without the stress? You know? And that was it
Mm.
for me. Yeah, that was it.
And so would you say, just parking there a little bit,
Yeah.
you trying to figure that out, did that come really easily in terms of, when you started doing the real estate investing, or were there other means that you started to get involved in to just help you stay financially supported,
Yeah.
on your
No,
artistic journey?
no, like it became my thing. I remember I was going to William Esper Studios,
Mm.
acting school in New York City, and I couldn't afford the program. I couldn't afford to live, and let me not say couldn't. I didn't know how to exist with all the responsibilities that I had and still afford the program. And a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, I'm going to be traveling for a while. I need somebody like to take care of my house. I don't want to lose like my place." I was like, "Yo, I'll
Mm.
do it." And then I rented out my apartment.
Smart.
I
Smart.
rented out. I remember I was like, "Oh, I have this fully furnished apartment. It's by Brooklyn Academy of Music. It's by Mark Morris Dance Company, for all these things." So I remember I went to like the HR people, and there was a hospital down the street. I went to the
Mm.
HR people, and I was like, "Hey, I have this fully furnished apartment. If you've got artists in residence, if you've got doctors coming on rotation, I got a place for them." So like,
Wow. But it's genius.
Everything,
Genius.
what happened was everything became a source of income for me. Like everything became a source of income. If my buddies were going away, I'd be like, hey, let's rent out your place, man. I'll give you like, I'll take this and you take this and I'll manage it. And like before I knew it, like I was doing my place, I was doing homies' places, friends, like, yeah.
Wow.
So like,
Wow.
yeah. Because you realize like sometimes all you got to do is jump, you know?
Mm-hmm.
With real estate, it was a thing of I pondered on for a while, but I was afraid to jump because I didn't know there was so much unknown. And once I jumped, I was like, I wasn't as high as I thought I was. You know what I mean? Now I
Exactly.
see what's going on. I can make money doing this, which then like spread to my own place, and then a friend's place, and then a friend of a friend. You know? So yeah.
So smart. Again, like I'm so glad that you're sharing this stuff because for people who are in the creative industry, I know people are getting inventive nowadays,
Yeah.
because we're so digital, but there's ways, Oops.
Yeah.
There's so many ways because that whole thing of like working the restaurant jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's a little archaic nowadays, So.
And
there's nothing wrong with it because I did it. I did that since I was 15, 16 years old. So, yeah.
Yeah. I know where my gifts lie and where they don't. Like, in New York City is a tough place to wait tables because people there are rough, man.
Oh, I could tell you some stories. I used to work at the Cutting Room and also Joe Allen Restaurant, which is, where all the Broadway actors would go after the show. So lots of fun stories. And then when I moved out here to LA, I worked at Boa Restaurant, which is like the celebrity hotspot. People are always like, what stories can you tell? I'm like, I am keeping those close to my chest. Not sharing anything.
The nastier you can be, right?
Yeah. But I would say those jobs, and from my experience, and but any job you work as you're coming up, it really does teach you about people and just human interaction in general. And, especially working in the service industry, you just learn like, hey, you don't have to be a jerk, like I just feel like, anyway, people and their food or just people when they're being served on, you get to really see their character sometimes. And so I was like, when I make it one day, definitely don't want to be like that, don't want to be like that. So, all right, so let's just shift on back to the acting and how you landed the role of Donald on the Oval. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience and how you got there?
It's divine. It's the universe. The universe said it's going to happen. The universe said it's going to happen a long time ago before I got it, and I knew it would. I didn't know it would be Donald, but I knew in some capacity that it would happen. I was in New York. I had a manager, and I said, "Hey, let's focus on Tyler stuff. Like I really like what he does. I really like this. I really like what he represented. You know what I mean?" And my first audition, I was transitioning to Los Angeles from New York, and I decided, you know what? Let me be let me be a citizen of the world for a few months. So I moved to Brazil before my transition here happened.
Wait, you moved where?
Brazil. Yeah, I forgot. So I moved to Brazil. I moved to a town called Bahia for like 3 months.
Wow.
And I said, I'm going to live here, figure it out. I rented out my place in New York.
I love it.
I rented out my place in LA. And it was just take care of itself, so I stayed there for a while, and I got an audition from my manager, and they said, hey, Tyler Perry Studios has this audition for this show called The Have and Have Not. And there's this role that we got you in for. His name's Benny on The Have and Have Not. And I was like, cool, this sounds cool. Let me know when I get let me know when, I didn't get it. They were working on it. I was like, cool, let me know when you get it. I remember that day, I was at the beach all day, and I met some friends, and we went out drinking, and I came back. I didn't have Wi-Fi on my phone or whatever, so I had to check my email when I got home. And I came back at like 8:30 at night, and I checked my email, and it was like, hey, you got an audition due the next day for Benny. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, I gotta
Wow.
figure this out, you know? Found a reader and we stayed up all night trying to figure out iMovie and how to put this thing on tape with I and edited it and we submitted it. I was, yeah, that
Wow.
was the first audition. And in between that, there's probably been like 8 other auditions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's another cat, Candace's boyfriend that was in jail that Veronica comes to see in jail. Quincy, I think his name was. I auditioned
Mm-hmm.
for that. I auditioned for so many. Sorry, I auditioned
Okay.
for a lot of roles, and then I remember. Huh? Yeah. Then I remembered in between that, I got an audition for another audition for Have and Have Nots, probably like my 8th audition for the Have and Have Nots. And it was this role of this FBI detective called Robert Hawk, you know,
Wow.
and he's
Wow.
investigating a murder. And I booked it. I booked it, first job with TPS. They flew me out there. They treated me like a king. They treated me better than any job that I had ever booked on any network, on any studio lot. And again, the kid in me that was at that theater came out when I drove onto this lot and I saw all these people of color that I'd never seen before. It was like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. And the people of color were like the Oompa Loompas, just like doing things in a happy, functioning way to make this utopia like function, you know? And it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was happy from the moment the moment someone picked you up in the airport, it was a smiling face that greeted you with this Southern hospitality that I was familiar with, that talked about how happy they were to be at their job and how they were a part of something great and all this stuff. Anyway, booked that. Then I think we auditioned for a few other things in between, didn't get. I saw on Actors Access that there was a show called Sisters that was coming out. I reached out to my agent. I was like, hey, sis, I've worked with Tyler Perry Art Studios. I really enjoyed working with him. I'd love to get an audition for it. Can you make a call? Raven's a really nice person. Can you give her a call, reach out? Yeah, we'll do that. Got the audition for Sisters. Did the audition, screen tested, flew out. I think you were there. Did the audition with Kim Coleman.
Uh-huh.
No, I did an on-camera audition.
Yeah, out here in LA.
Yeah.
Our stories are so interesting because one way or the other, we were going to end up working opposite with each other.
You know, I wish I could go back in the time machine because we probably passed each other on the street.
We probably did.
Or something.
That was such a crazy day too, because anyway, I don't know, but I remember auditioning not auditioning, but going over lines with Anthony Dalton. Oh gosh, I always remember. Is it Mitchell?
Yeah, I remember Anthony being there.
Yeah, and so he and I were running lines because I was auditioning for Sabrina, and I hear that you're auditioning for his role on Sister.
Calvin, yeah. But check it out, Calvin. I had Calvin down. Down. And when I got there, they were like, "No, we don't want you to audition for Calvin anymore. We want you to audition for Gary." And I was like,
"The same thing happened." Well, you auditioned for Gary? Whoa!
Yeah, with them. Anthony would have had a run for his money about auditioning.
Oh my gosh!
I was ready for Calvin. I had gotten Calvin down, and they changed it on me at the last minute for Gary. And the audition went weird because I was like, I need to do something creative in the beginning to grab their attention. It wasn't. Yeah. Anyway, it didn't work out. But what I do remember, well, 2 things. I got to say this because you're probably included in this. I remember being in a room full of like beautiful, like at one point it was just a swarm of beautiful women that came in and like the highest heels, like just fly. And I'm trying to get Gary down because they just gave me Gary. And I had to turn my chair with my back to the entrance. And Blue was in there. And Blue was like, dude, what are you doing? You all right? I was like, man, I cannot focus with all these files coming through this door. This is crazy. It is I can't focus. Like, I can't get this down and keep my eyes on that door. I can't look. So I remember
oh my gosh.
because it was a flock. It was
a
storm.
There were a lot of us there. I do remember.
Every woman that stepped in there was beautiful.
Yeah, and yeah, there were some very good looking guys there too that day. I was like, what is going on? I just remember I hid in a corner because I was like, I gotta get these lines down.
You're probably right next to me in a corner, like trying
Yeah.
to figure it out. Yeah. But anyway, I remember during that, I heard somebody say something about the oval. I didn't know
Mm.
anything about the oval. And I'd always wanted to be on some type of procedural or political law and order concept show. You know, that was one of my desires. And I remember I went up to Raven and I said, "Hey, like, I'm really honored to be here, and hey, I hope this works out." But I heard about the oval. I love that concept. Like, if ever there's something available for me, please consider me as well. And she stared at me for a minute, like I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's probably gonna be like this ungrateful."
No.
So kind of, yeah. She's like, "Thank you for telling me that." Yeah, we
Wow.
will. And, she's like, "We're trying to cast everything now, but we will. We'll see." Didn't work out with Gary, Galvin. Um, 2 weeks later, I fly back. 2 weeks later, I get the call for Donald.
Wow.
Kim Coleman called. I get there, audition, fly back out to Atlanta. Here we go again. We meet with Raven again. We meet with Mark, and they say you got the role. Yeah.
Wow. And I think during this time I was like, "Who's Donald?"
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah.
somebody, who is he? Tell me,
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
like, I'm trying to figure out, like, how to play whoever. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't even picture in my mind who Donald was because I didn't know. So I was just
yeah,
like, okay. So
yeah.
yeah, wow, incredible.
It's a trip. I didn't mention. I think this was like a week, about 4 days before we started shooting.
Wow, yeah, yeah. Because I do. I mean, I think up until that point, I still didn't know, and I was like, I want to run lines,
Yeah.
and, like,
I
and they're
remember.
like, we'll let you know. We'll let you know. Just
Yeah,
go do your thing with Travis, and we'll let you know. And I
yeah,
was just like,
yeah.
we already learned our lines. I need to know what's going on with Donald.
I remember Mark said, "I got good news." He was like, "You're booked to go, but I got bad news." He's like, "The castmate started a while back with script or whatever, and you got to play catch up." And I was like, "Okay, well, where's the script?" He was like, "Well, we're gonna have to like fill out some paperwork and then send it." I was like, "Give me the paperwork now. Let me just get started now." He was like,
Yeah.
give us a couple of days." I was like, "A couple of days? And then you start like. So like, I remember being on set, literally like trying to learn the line. And you were so dope. Because my first week, it was with you and Brad.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't sleep. I didn't tell y'all this. Like, I didn't sleep because it was
I don't think any of us did, to be honest with you.
if I slept 1 hour, 2 hours, 2 hours in the night, it was a miracle because it was the idea of, you got this opportunity. You can wake up, look pretty, and not know anything, or you
Mm-hmm.
can wake up, be tired, roll off the adrenaline of the joy of the opportunity that you have, and get as much down as you can, and give the people across from you the respect of knowing as much as you can, and not, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was my goal.
And you
Yeah,
did it. You
yeah.
knocked it out, man.
I mean, I had dope people next to me. Seriously, I had y'all next to me, and I couldn't have asked for like better people to work next to. Not knowing, but getting to know as the process. Yeah, yeah. You and Brad were like pivotal in like
Oh man.
there's
Thanks.
no coincidences with the universe that I shot with you two first before we got thrown into the lines, then of everything else of the White House. Yeah,
Man.
yeah. I
What a
remember that
time.
moment where you pulled me out. You're like, "Hey, look, let's do some Reiki. Let's do this. Like, everything is good. We're good." Yeah. I'm like,
Oh my
"Please,
gosh.
like, what? I don't even know. I don't know 25 of them. What are we doing?" Yeah.
Look, we did it, and we are so much better for it. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely strengthen us as artists. I would say that. And here we are. We're in season 3, and then
Yeah.
hopefully more to come with that. So
It's
yeah.
the universe, man. Yeah, I can't say enough. Like having faith and gratitude and knowing that there is a greater. And I don't want to be sacrilegious about it because I feel like they all work in unison, God, the universe. But like
Mm-hmm.
having faith that there's something greater that's guiding you, and having faith that it's ordering your steps, so to speak, is a comforting thing. And I
Yeah.
feel like the more I lend myself to it, the more it lends itself to guiding. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so real. And it's just, I think that that's what this whole life is. And especially when you're a creative and an artist and an actor, it's like that messaging, you just got to embody it no matter what. It's all about, yeah, like doing your part and being as proactive as you can. But a lot of it is faith, and
Yeah.
just believing in the higher power and just knowing that you're going to be supported and taken care of no matter what. And
Yeah.
those are in the thick of the work, or even in the thick of not having work. Those are just the things that I try to hold on to and remind myself, remind other fellow artists, like, hey, we're supported no matter what, and it's going to be great no
Yeah.
matter what. so
Yeah.
so don't freak out and just get on a ride and just enjoy it. Just be enjoy with it.
And the
Yeah.
universe says, you weren't praying about the movie. I got Ciera right there. She's an instrument of what I do. I'll figure out your way to, like, give you a little Reiki, calm you down, and get you back centered.
Exactly. I what I do love, just working with you. I mean, I don't know, you and I, we just figure out, we problem solve really well together with this stuff. And, just you're so courteous, and, we just have good communication. I enjoy it, because I totally went off the script. I had all these questions, but, one of the things that I was going to ask and touch on was just, figuring out how to collaborate with other artists and, the director, the producer. And, anyway, we kind of answer the question a little bit, but if you want to touch a little bit more on that, just what that process is like for you and why it's important to figure that out, or how to be in the collaborative process. If you want to share anything on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing about the collaborative process is, I'm going to use you for an example. You come to work with Ciera Payton, and you know that Ciera Payton's going to have all these great ideas, and that she's going to be professional, and that she's going to give it 110%. My goal, whenever I whenever I go into rehearsal, when we get the scripts and we start setting up, like, reading, my goal is always to have my point of view down and have the idea of what I'm going to create down, because I know that I have a professional across from me that's going to say, oh, this is what Lodric wants to do. This is what Ciera wants to do. And if I have something solid down, it's easy for me to adapt to what, find the middle ground, or adapt to these creative ideas that Ciera gives, or if I'm on set, to the creative ideas that Tyler gives. So for me, it's always being prepared with what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In a place where I can let go of it. Yeah. But I think preparedness is it for me. And I treat everything like the child of a cement finisher, in terms of showing up with the foundation, showing up with the foundation is what I want to do. Yeah.
I think too, the big thing, what I've learned from this experience and just what I feel we both share in, is just the respect, like we definitely respect each other. Even though, like, if we disagree, or, if it's like, Ciera, I'm not on that page with you, or Lodric, I'm not on that page, like, we still can come together in a respectful manner and be like, all right, well, let's try to figure this out. Let's try to, and it's also, respect for the content, and just respect for the whole process of it all. And I think, especially a lot of young actors in this business kind of starting out and stuff, there's a lack of understanding of that respect of, like, respect what's on the page, respect with, your fellow artists, respect your director, your producer. Cause I hear these stories all the time about, it's just like, oh, I'm just going to do this, and it's just like, no, like, you have to bring some respect and integrity into what you're doing. And that way you can flow with your fellow artists, and I feel like you and I, like, we get into those rehearsal rooms and we're doing some really deep, heavy material at time, but we're able to, like, walk away from it laughing, so it's just like, or to just be like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow at, 7 a.m. and we got it, so it's just like, so yeah.
And we can check on each other and make sure we're good. I love that about working with you. You're definitely that. You know what I mean? I think that, Donald and Lily have their relationship, but I think the relationship with Lodric and Ciera has always been one of support. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you
Yeah.
good? I know this was a lot. I just want to check. You good? All right. You got everything you need? Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And that's so important, and I think just in any work environment, if you have just knowing that, hey, you might be on a rocky ship, I might be on a rocky ship because, maybe I'm feeling this way, or, I don't feel, like I got this material down enough or whatever. But just having that word, just being like, hey, I got you, or, I got your back, or I support you. Just having those like little phrases of affirmation is just enough to like, soar, and it's just, so I'm just saying that to say that whoever is watching this, people watching this, please advocate for your coworkers and, try to, have their back. And, even if they don't say it back to you, that I have your back, just put that energy out there and just see what happens,
There you go.
See how far you can soar together.
It works with Ciera and Lodric, trust me.
Hey, look, it's there. So like I said from the beginning, I got your back. So, and thank you for having mine.
I got you. I do.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and just start to digress and move on to our little rapid fire questions here. Because I think we got a lot going on that we got a lot out. And I think everybody's going to enjoy this so much. So I just want to dive into just these little rapid questions. You can answer them with, one or two sentences, or, elaborate on them some more, but we don't have that much time. So, all right. So my first one, who's your favorite actor?
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. Nice. I want him to play my father in a movie one day. Anyway.
The funny thing is, a lot of people don't even know who Jeffrey Wright is. I think he's phenomenal. Yeah.
He's so amazing. Oh my God. Yeah. Good. I like that. Good answer. Good answer.
Giancarlo Esposito, both, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. All right. So, what is your dream role that you would like to execute?
James Bond.
Ooh. They need to bring some. Yes, we need some flavor up in the Bond franchise. Yes, why not do that? You could totally do that. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So, worst advice ever given to you?
Sit still and wait.
Say that again.
Sit still and wait.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the worst. For me, that's the worst state. To sit still and wait. Oh, wait by the phone and I'll call.
No. No. We'll throw that out the window.
Yep.
Nice. All right. So, best advice ever given?
Oh, that one touched me. My grandfather gave me this advice, and I try to hold to it every day. Never allow someone to feel invisible around you. Yeah. Never allow someone to feel invisible in your presence. Yeah.
That's deep. That's real. That is so real, because everybody wants to be seen. Even if they say they don't, they want to be seen. Oh, I love that.
It spoke to me a lot during the pandemic, and I would go on Instagram Live and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, there's a lot of people out there that's probably feeling like me that can't sleep during this pandemic. So how about, you got this platform, go online at 3:00 in the morning when you can't sleep and just open up conversations. I did that and it was the coolest thing, Yeah.
I love it. I love that.
I feel this way, I feel that way. And I was like, I feel that way too. Cool, let's talk about it, Yeah.
Nice. Look at you. I love you giving that space for people. Do that. I love that.
I mean,
All right. So if you weren't acting, what would you be doing?
Lawyer. It's rapid fire, baby. Come on.
I see that. I love that. All right. So we already said dream role, but is there a dream project that you would like to do?
I'm telling you, one of these James Bond franchises, I idolize that cat. You know what I mean? I idolize that cat. And I idolize him beyond color. And I always feel like, and I don't want to get too deep about it, that media has been the greatest form of oppression that has existed in my time on this earth. And I think that it's time for people to see themselves in heroes, in saviors, and fictional characters that most of these characters are colorblind, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's time. I've never seen The Little Mermaid, but I heard that they could cast a beautiful black woman as the mermaid. I was like, you know what? How beautiful is that? Not just the black people to see identify themselves in a character like that, but also white people, Asian people, whatever,
Yeah.
that they can see the world and the fullness of what it is and the beauty of what it is, you know? Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
would
just going to
like
get
to see,
us one step closer to just
yeah.
really being human. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. And,
yeah.
I had a friend, she lived in San Francisco, a white lady, and she had a white daughter. She says, I left San Francisco because I didn't want to raise my daughter in a place that didn't represent the world that that she sees around her now in California, in Los Angeles, you know?
Wow.
That's important. You know, this is a white
It
woman saying
is.
that my daughter, my white daughter, she could sit in the privilege of being white and just seeing all white success and heroes and all that. But that's not the reality of the world. Like, let me educate her better and see the world in its fullness. I think there's strength in that. That says,
There is.
yeah, so much so we think about us identifying, but yeah, it's important for the world. So yeah,
Yeah.
to answer your question, I want to be
I
the black James Bond for some little black boy that's watching. And yeah,
I love that. And it's just, I mean, just to go back on the whole representation thing, it's
yeah,
just, the more comfortable other people see
yeah,
other races on TV,
yeah,
just the better. I don't know, like you said, it's just so much strength in that because
yeah,
we are such a diverse, not only country, but world at large. And it's
yeah,
just so important to just
yeah,
have everybody represented and just show that rainbow tribe of who we are, So
yeah.
is there a dream talent that you would like to work with? Dream actor, director, producer, cinematographer, anything?
Yeah, you know, I love Quentin Tarantino. I love the
Mm.
madness of what he creates. I think, on the outside, Logic is calm guy. I think sometimes on the inside, there's madness and confusion and craziness that like I have to meditate and like hone in. But when I watch his stuff, I really like watching his stuff because it's like a lot of times it's like total confusion. I think one of my favorite films by him is From Dusk to Dawn. You know, you wind up
Oh,
thinking
that's
it's
a
a bank
good one.
robbery, and then it turns into like this vampire lair. It's crazy, you know. Yeah, you know. I'm of course like I'm really like I dreamed of working with Tyler Perry, you know,
Hmm.
because I love everything that he represents. I love the artistic genius that he is, and I'm not just saying that because I worked with him. Like I always felt that way. I didn't understand the genius until now, but I'm really proud of that. But outside of that, Quentin Tarantino, I'd love to work with actors like
Oh, wow.
Regina King, Juan Carlos
Mm.
Esposito, of course, I was about to say Sidney Poitier. Yeah.
I
Harry,
mean, yes, I know he just passed away, but
yeah.
I mean, that would be, back to have that opportunity back in the day would have been amazing.
Talk about identifying with something. You know, when you see someone, as a kid, I'd like to be to some kid what Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, and those guys. I know I'm off topic about it,
Mm.
but yeah, I would like to be
No,
what they were in this age. Yeah. Um,
and you will be,
but
and you
yeah,
already
I hope
are.
I hope so.
I mean, seriously. I mean, people are watching the show.
Yeah,
They're watching us, and
yeah,
I hope that they're able to see themselves in us, and or in the characters that they're playing, that we're playing. But
yeah, I hope so.
yeah,
I hope
yeah.
so. I hope they see the dignity that we bring, that we do bring,
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd love to work with the greats like that, Jeffrey
Nice.
Wright, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
I'd love to work with the great Ciera Payton, which is dope.
Oh my. I feel like I got a ways to go, but
No, we are where we are, where you are is great. Yeah.
exactly. You're right, man. All right. So, is there anything that you'd like to share that we didn't touch on at all?
Um, no, not really. I think, this is interesting. I got a post on social media, and I didn't know that I gave this off, or if I give this off, or maybe this is just one person. Someone said, "You probably can identify, but like I don't have a lot of money. You probably don't identify, and you seem to me as someone who comes from leisure and from money, and like you carry yourself. I don't want to paraphrase too much, but they were like, you seem like you come from money. Do you have advice for someone who comes from poverty and is trying to do this? I was like, I can give you all my advice. I mean,
Yeah,
people in poverty never think that they're in poverty for the most part. Very few.
that's so true.
But I was like, I didn't come from that. I was born and raised. Well, I was born in the project. You know, my parents got out at an early age, but like, yeah, I don't know what it is. And I've gotten similar like DMs like that assume that I came from a privileged place, that assume that the oval was just handed, that assume that I never had. And it's not insulting. It is what it is. You know, if that's what they get, that's what they get. But I will say, like you, like many of us, like this road to where we are it's been a lot of hard work. You know, it's been a lot of hard work. I mean, we talked about these matchbox apartments in New York City. We talked about, hustling on the streets. We talked about waiting tables. We talked about whatever. But like, I think I never want to give the illusion that this just came to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it did, I'd be proud. Look, if I was walking through Central Park and got discovered and said, "Hey, you, what's your name? I got an idea for a movie for you." That used to be my dream, by the way.
Right? Yeah.
Come meet me at this office at this time, and we'll start shooting. Like, yeah, that would have been great, but that didn't happen. Like, I know this journey has been like a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of hard work. Sometimes tears, sometimes disappointment, sometimes, sometimes the light getting turned off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I know.
If anybody's watching this, and I just want to make sure that they're always aware that hard work pays off. And if this is not just this, if there's something that you're passionate about in life, put in the work. Don't sit still.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel down about it. Shake it off. Sun rises for a reason. It's a new day. Yeah.
I think I totally relate to that. And I'm glad that you shared that. Yeah. And I just want to say, just to piggyback onto it, is, I think, yes, there's so many assumptions out there about actors and, us and, how we got to where we got to and that type of stuff. But I would say that the vast majority of the actors that we love, and even, us, being on TV and stuff, the only difference between, us and the people that are sitting at home or on social media, sending that to you is, well, I think a lot of it is mindset, but we also just like took the leap and just was like, you know what? If I fail, I fail, but I'm going to at least say that I did it, that I went for it at least. And you're going to, put your all into it. You're going to make a fool of yourself. You're going to risk going broke, poor, hungry, whatever, and just, do it. And so yeah, I think, that's when people send me those type of messages as well, I just always tell them, like, you got to do it. You can't be scared, and you like, yeah, it's a scary thing to do, but you got to just like tap into that boldness and just say, look, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And so, and who cares, where you come from, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this can be a whole, 2-part, 3-part series, you and I talking about our upbringing and our background, but it's just like, that little boy Lodric in Lake Charles, Louisiana, or that, little girl Ciera in the Third Ward of New Orleans, the thing that separates the two of them, the adult versions of us, is that we just decided to just say, screw it. We're just going to go for it, and just see what happens, have faith, and just let God do the rest. And, and it's still a journey we're on. It's not over,
No, it's not. It's the jump. It's the jump.
It is.
It's the jump.
So what inspires you to thrive?
People, my friends. Yeah. I just figured out I have this crazy thing of pushing my friends too hard. I'm like, why didn't you do this? Do this. No, you got to do this. Blah, blah. Because the people around me inspire the hell out of me. And sometimes when they stop, I find myself pushing, just because I want them to succeed, but because I want to continuously be inspired.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
I just realized it. Like I was pushing a friend, and they were like, "Yo, why do you keep like back up? Why do you keep pushing?" I'm like, "No, you got to do this." And I realized in conversation, I was like, like I have surrounded myself by people that I'm continuously inspired by, present company included. To some degree, and inspire me in some category, maybe not the same, whatever. And when they're not, I feel a little deprived. Or when they stop, or when they stand still, or when they get down, like I pick them up not just for support, but because there's a part of me that continuously like craves inspiration from these people. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense because you're the sum of who you hang out with, and it's just like, with me and my tribe, it's like I want us, I want us to be shoulder and shoulder and rising up, and if I see somebody that's not down there, it's like who's down there, it's like, no, come on up. Come on up to the light. It's
stronger
okay.
when you're doing it together, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, all right, you stay down there. No, like, come, let's do this together.
And everybody has a role to play in all of that. Has a role to play in all of that. I know, like, if you think of in terms of, maybe we take it in terms of the government or something. Like, not everybody can be president, but you got, the vice president and such and such and so on. And so, but you all can operate together and really create change and really spark and inspire people, in your positions, in your role. So anyway, I love that. I love that you said that though, because it is important to uplift your friends, Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. No, it's a new realization I had. Yeah. Thank you for asking that question.
Oh, I love it. Lodric, this has been awesome and amazing. And I so appreciate you taking time out to be a part of this. Thank you.
Anytime you need me, I'm here. You know that. All right.
All right. And people can follow you on Instagram, Twitter, all those places at
Lodric D Collins on Instagram. On Twitter is at Lodric D. So come on through. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. And we will be watching each other on the Oval on Tuesdays.
There's a lot coming up.
So much. I'm excited.
I'm excited about In Trive. I can't wait to see all the cool things that are coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it open on my tab.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lodric. I appreciate you and I love you. So
all the best.
Thank you.
I love you too. All right.
All right. Bye. See you soon. All right. Bye.